And one of the first questions I want to talk about is about credibility. You know, Michelle talked a little bit yesterday about our goal is to get people to know, like, and trust us, right? Getting people to know, like, and trust us. And that's a tricky thing. The definition of credibility is that quality of trust, but where does credibility reside? Right? Unfortunately, you can't stand up here, I can't stand up here and say, I have credibility, right? Who gets to say that I have credibility? You do, right? And so it takes time. All this relationship marketing goes towards building credibility. But one of the things I want to share with you today about CoreTemperament is the fact that it's a sneaky way to build credibility a lot faster by understanding how to do what we call style shifts. If you're coaches and you're not using some kind of assessment with your clients, I highly recommend that you start. I don't care which one you use, just use one because it gives you so much information and insight about who your clients are, and it makes you a more effective coach at working with them, right? Anybody that works with me has to take this assessment. So one of the things that I did was I named mine really silly names, right? Because I could stand up here and talk about how you're interpersonal and you're cognitive, but really the truth is we're bulldozers, detectives, border collies, and ringmasters, right? And I pegged a bunch of you in this room. Then I've been working with this tool since 2006. None of us is all of one or another. Most of us are a beautiful grayscale blend of different core temperaments. So what I really want to focus on today is not so much about your own style. You can go take the temperament assessment, you can figure out who you are, but I want to talk about what other styles want from you. Our biggest mistake when we're trying to sell is that we sell how we want to be sold, right? If you're a border collie and you love stories and you're interpersonal and you value harmony and you love people and you want to have long, heart-centered conversations and you're talking to a bulldozer, they are so gone, you are so not going to be able to communicate effectively with them, because what a bulldozer wants from you, hard, cold facts. What's the bottom line? Don't waste my time. What's in it for me? Okay? So understanding some of these differences is crucial to improving your sales conversations, okay? So border collies tend to give way too much information, right? Because we love people, right? Our detectives, classic example of a detective personality is the guy who 2 weeks before the Super Bowl goes to Best Buy to buy a new big screen TV. But he spent the last 6 months researching televisions. And he goes in with a spreadsheet of every brand that Best Buy sells, all the pros and cons, all the prices. And when that salesperson who's a ringmaster sees him, he goes running. Because that guy knows more than he does about all the TVs in his own store. Because that guy just wants to make a sale, right? He doesn't care about how many plugs and widgets and gadgets and gadgets and remotes, right? But the detective needs to know, okay? They need to know. They want all that information, right? The ringmaster is an influencer. They're charismatic, they're creative, they're speakers, they're hands. How many of you think Mike O'Neill is a classic ringmaster? Right? No doubt. You're shaking your head. You don't think you are? Came out as a detective. So that means that you're really good on the back end with all the numbers, right? But you're great at the money. Or either that or you've had to become that way. You're the money guy. But, you know, it's all about the creativity that you approach it with, and it's about your fearlessness of being in front of people and trying to influence them. So most people who really love speaking and are not terrified of speaking are ringmasters. So here's some things to watch for, okay? If you're on the telephone, what are the questions they're asking you? One of the other big mistakes that salespeople make all the time, and by the way, I sold advertising for a living for 12 years, so I did a lot of sales in every possible format, right, is we talk too much. The truth is, if you just sit quietly, let them ask questions, talk themselves into it, they'll tell you what they need, right? This is a big piece we talked about all weekend. They'll tell you what they need, they'll tell you what they want, and they'll tell you how they want it. Do they want it fast and dirty and quick, right? Or do they need more detailed information? If you're talking to someone on the phone and they want lots of information, make sure that you have something you can send them by email, right? How many of you use strategy session forms that people have to fill out before they have a conversation with you? Okay, if you're not, they're a great way to very quickly assess somebody's core temperament. By how much they say, the quality of what they're saying, you start to listen for those cues. What are they asking you for? What are they concerned about? Remember, our border collies, they're interpersonal. They have to like you before they're going to do business with you. How many of you have ever gone to buy a car like that, and if you didn't like the salesperson, you were out of there, right? One time I was with my husband, buying a truck for him, and the sales guy sat there and said, yeah, it's got a nice little mirror over here for the back, too. I'm like, we're out of here, we'll go buy a truck somewhere else, right? And I'm a hello, I'm a human being, right? So for me, that didn't work, okay? But there's other times where you want that heart connection, right? With people. So know that about what your client is asking for. The bulldozer is very impatient, very fast. Don't spend too much time on the telephone with them. Let themselves talk themselves into it. And most of the time, the bulldozer already knows in advance, before they contact you, whether they're going to buy or not. So listen for that. What's in their conversation that they're saying is going to give you a clue to that, okay? The detective, facts and figures. The ringmaster is probably the trickiest person to sell to. Anybody want to take a guess why? Because they don't pay attention, because they're way more into their own story than anything else you have to say. They're influencers, and it's hard to get them to be quiet long enough to even share the information that you have, right? So you gotta let them tell their story first, and then show how your story kind of matches with their story, right? It's kind of sneaky and tricky.
Gave me strong clarity in what I need to do, what I'm gonna do. I enjoyed every single one of the speakers, and it was just absolutely fabulous.